Okay, this is the tutorial for us to make a gear differential for our engineering assessment task. Here we have loaded up on Google Chrome an example image of what we're looking for in a gear differential. We see this model over here has, this one has 6 gears in it. We can get away with 5, but we're going to do one with 6. We have rods, the rod going vertical is connected to the engine, and the 2 rods that are horizontal are going to the wheels. If you look up real-world gear differentials, you don't see this one very often. You see gear differentials that look more like this, which have like spirals in them. This is a lot more difficult for us to model, so we are just going to model the simplified version. This simplified gear differential is used in model cars. Use it because it's a simpler system and can be made with more generic gears. We're going to have Fusion 360 up. Just let me hide this. All right, so we're going to start with Fusion 360 and where's my Fusion 360 over here? Let me get my mouse set up. All right, the first thing we need with our gear differentials, we're going to start by making the gear. We'll start by making the gear up the top. Now in Fusion 360, we have, we can make, what do I have over here? Let me close this sketch. We can actually insert, gears already made for us in our construction. Let me just find where those are. Insert, it's so on your Fusion 360 screen, if we go to utilities up here, we can press add-ins, scripts and add-ins. If we run it, we have a bunch of scripts over here which will they make pre-done, they can make shapes based on certain numbers that we give it. So we want to do spur gear. We can run that script and it's going to give us this window on the side, which if I actually look at my thing, you can't see this window on your Fusion 360, but I have a workaround for that. All right, due to an error with my OBS, I couldn't show the tables, the windows that popped up, but I've pasted it into Paint. The window you get over here on the left is when you press the utilities scripts and add-ins, you get that thing that has a lot of blue and yellow plus signs in it. If you scroll down, you should have a thing called spur gear, and when you press spur gear, you get that that window that is in the middle of the screen. This has words such as standard, so we want our threads to be metric. We can change factors in there, which we really don't need to worry about for designing our spur gear. It just changes the angle and the shape of the teeth of the gear. The thing we do have to worry about is the number of teeth, because the number of teeth is going to change the size of the gears. And so we just have to remember it, if we double the size of the teeth, we're going to double the diameter of the gears. So in my one, let's say the first one, let's do 24 gears. And if I run that script and let me go back to the OBS, and you're not going to see me plug this in, but you should see what's going to happen once I press OK. When I press OK, you should have a gear made in your system. All right, great for those tasks you had previously. If we zoom in over here, we can see that the gear is its own file name. Now, can you see? Oh, you can't see the file directory either. That's annoying. When you plug in, when you press enter and you get the gear out, you get this table that's on the right there where you have spur gear 24 teeth. You can change the name of it later, but it makes the body and it makes the sketch. So in our case, we just want the sketch because we're going to change the profile of our gear, because like in our example, we want our we want our gears to be angled. So we're going to be extruding them in a custom way. All right, so let me hide this paint and let's go to the extrusion. And I'm not going to refresh the. I'm not going to show you the paint tables because you should know how to extrude the stuff by now. We have our body. Then under the spur gear 24 teeth, if you go to the sketches, your sketches should be hidden. We actually want to hide the body to hide the body of the gear. And then if we, under the sketches, if we open that up, we can reveal it and it will show us, this is the sketch that the body is basing everything off. We can manually just do a pattern around the gear, or we can go back to our original body we had here and we can use this face in a sketch design. So what I want us to do is to go back to our solids and for us to start by making by clicking the face of the gear, press create a sketch, and this sketch that we've made, if we just finish the sketch now and I hide everything else, we have the sketch of the gear. And it should be sketch 1 or sketch 2. This sketch is not in the spur 24 gear section. It's in the main section of your drawing. I can then select that sketch and we're going to be extruding it. So I click that sketch and extrude it. And if I pull this arrow, I can just make the gear any length I want. What we're also going to do is we're going to be adjusting this angle over here. Hold on. Oh. Let's make it 20 millimeters thick and zero. Right, so we can make it 20 millimeters thick, and we want to change this angle by changing this knob over here, this circle over here, to make a taper angle, so we can have it angled that 45 degrees. The issue we have, because we have this hole in the middle, it doesn't really want us to do that. So what we're going to do is we're also going to press this profile over here. So now it's going to make a solid disc, and then now we should be able to change this taper angle, and yes, we should actually be getting now. Let me change it the other way. All right, something is happening. This is what we want. We're actually getting angles as we're doing this now. And so this is at 15 degrees. We do need it to be at 45. So what we can do is, is it going to work at 45? Hold on, let me think. So when we try to extrude the gear by doing a taper angle, it doesn't like these curves over here. They go out and they make that's clearly not going to work for a gear mechanism. So what we're going to do instead is go back to our original, we're going to cancel this. We're going to go back to our original gear, and if we go to our sketches in our gear, one of the sketches has the sketch for this tooth over here, this sketch over here. And we want to get this sketch over here, and we want to actually angle this. We want to angle this at 45 degrees. We'll get this sketch, and so how do we angle that? We're going to modify, move or copy, select this sketch object, and just be, can we just select this entire sketch? that entire sketch object, and we're just going to angle this at 45 degrees. No, not from there, so let's try it again. We want this whole... What is this? Hide this sketch. We don't need that sketch. And we don't need this sketch. Select this entire thing over here. Move and copy. There you go. So now over here we're going to angle this at 45 degrees. Press OK. Did that work? Oh, the base didn't work. Hold on. The base didn't work. Why didn't the base work? Set pivot point. I want the pivot point to be here. This is confusing me now. All right, instead of copying that, instead of rotating that sketch, we're just going to make it into an object. Make it into a 1mm object, and then we'll just rotate this object. That might be the easier way to do it. Move or copy. We'll select this body, and we will rotate this body at 45 degrees. Like so. And then we will select this body out at 45. We will extrude it now to the length that we want it to be. So let's say, just guessing on the image that we had before, we want this object to be 3 centimeters. Sorry? Because this one I'm having, it's going to be bigger. We'll see if that works. And we have this tooth over here, and now we can rotate it. Pattern, circular pattern. We'll select this body, pick this axis of this circle over here, and then this was 24 teeth. 24. Which means we have that, and then we press enter. And so now we're going to have these angled teeth, and now we just got to find a way to seal up this object in a way that makes sense. I think the best way to seal up this particular object is to make a revolve tool. So we'll go to home. We will sketch. We'll sketch on this axis over here. We need to have a line that goes up to, I'm guessing about, has to hit the base of that one. So what I'm going to do, I do this sketch, I'm going to hide everything else. Can I hide all these bodies? I'm going through and I'm hiding all the bodies apart from the one at the very top. And go back to this side view. So I want to just cover this over here. this line to go. Close that sketch. Unhide all these bodies so we can see when it's going to revolve. Revolve tool, press this shape that we just made. The axis we want to rotate it about is this axis over here. We don't want to cut, we want to join. And now we have a gear that can rotate. Press OK. And we have that, that's the basis of our gear, that in the diagram it looks something like that. But we've made it ourselves. And then we just have to do the same approach for the gear on the other side. For this one, I'm going to pause the video, do it in class, and resume when we have the other side built at another angle. So I did the same thing. I did a spur gear, but this one I did at 30, and I thought I should actually show how we're going to move this. I'm going to press the modify move, press the body that we just made. We want to move this gear, just trying to attach to it in a nice spot. We want to move this one. This gear is going to be at a 90-degree angle, and it's going to be somewhere out here. But we'll deal with that. We'll just do the 90-degree angle first, and then we will align it up to make sense later. So we just want the gear to be somewhere out here. So then when we press OK and we open up our sketches, do we have that little... No, we don't have that tooth exposed. All right, we'll do that tooth. We will move the whole body as a whole later then. So I'm just undoing my work, hiding the original body. We don't want it to interact. We'll show off that little tooth, hide everything else. Extrude this. This time I'm just to save time, I'm going to extrude this to the whole 30 millimeters before. If I press OK, where did that go? Went over there. So if this is the main gear, this one needs to, I will make the copies first and then we'll rotate it. Because while we still have the circle for us to base this copy around, we're going to go to create. Now, I don't think you can see these tables as well, but under create, if you press the arrow down, pattern, circular pattern. Oh, sorry, before we do that, we need to angle this at 45 degrees. So modify, move copy, press this over here. We want this one to also be at 45 degrees. Okay, then we can go to create pattern, circular pattern. This is the object we want to move. The axis is this circle over here. This one is not 24, this one was 30 teeth. So we have to change this to 30. Okay. And then like our previous one, we have to make a shape that can fit around it. Now I think, is there another way I can make the shape that would make sense? Probably. Sketch this face over here. Can I just make a circle? I'll go here. Do that. Final sketch. And then I can get this circle. I can extrude this circle out. And if I extrude this circle out at a 45-degree angle, and I join, and if I get the, what do we go, 27 millimeters, 25, 20, 22. So if I do this and I press enter on that, now I have the gear. I should have two separate bodies now. These two gears are interlaid. We'd want to fix that now. We're going to go to the second body, the larger one. So the larger gear that we have, we can select that gear. We're going to go to modify, move and copy. And now we're just going to rotate it to a position that makes sense. We can align it visually this direction. And then we can align it this way. And what about top-wise? Pretty close actually. That actually looks pretty close. Close enough for us to care about anyway. So those gears now, we have two gears that are angled and these two can rotate. And so we can use that same techniques to do our other smaller gears because all the other gears are just a combination of getting larger or smaller gears rotating around each other. Now, if we're going to use this as our foundation of us to build everything off, because everything that we're building will either be coming out of, oh, I hit the wrong body. Everything will be coming out of either this body, this is the one that's connected to the drive shaft, or this body. This body's going to have the holding mechanism for the other gears, and it's going to have pins in it, and so we'll focus on drawing those components here.